Hi, this is Mary of Mary Humphrey Coaching. Today we're talking about victim mentality. Victim mentality is an acquired personality trait in which a person tends to recognize or consider themselves as a victim of the negative actions of others. And they behave as if this is the case in the face of sometimes contrary evidence of such circumstances. So what happens is the victim is so engrossed in blaming the other person for the way that they feel, the kind of day that they've had, so on and so forth, that they continue to blame this other person. But what in actuality can happen is this person doesn't grab a hold of themselves and say, wait a minute, I can only be who I am. This person can't force me into being in a bad mood. They can't force me into saying dumb things. They can't force me into feeling so distraught. But regardless of what the other person is doing, you still have this sense of being the victim, even when those circumstances aren't there. So having a victim mentality can really work on our emotional well-being. Our mental well-being can take a dive when we have a victim mentality. And people that have a victim mentality often feel frustrated and angry. They feel mad. They go around stomping their feet and dragging their feet, and they're telling others they've had this horrible time because the boss has mistreated them so badly. But they don't stop and think that I can actually improve my own mood, and I own my own mind, and I own my own emotions, and this is not something anybody else can touch. Now, I am speaking about much of this in terms of narcissism, but I'll tell you a story about myself. When I worked in the corporate world, and I had a supervisor, a owner that worked off-site, and he would frequently get upset with us in the office, and we'd come into the office in the morning, some of us would, with big red letter emails written in huge red capitalized emails. And I got to the point where I hated to turn my computer on, and I constantly thought that the world was going to end, basically, and that's exaggerating. And I hated to turn my computer on and look at the screen because I expected big red letters. And I would let this just manage my free time or manage my work time as well. It just took over. And at the time, I was seeing a life coach. And she, in one of our sessions, she really let into me. She said, you've got to drop this victim mentality. You are not a victim of him. You're a victim of your own self. And I realized at that point in time that this boss wasn't in control of my mind. I had my own mind that I could deal with, my own mind that I could control. I could go home and to heck with him. I didn't have to think about him. I could come on in the morning and flip the computer on. If there were big red letters and he was the one who was mad, he was the one who was mad. It didn't control and affect my life at that point. So remember, a victim is the opposite of a conqueror. And I love to say, you are not a survivor of narcissism. You're a thriver. You conquer. You are not a victim. And this is the mindset. This is the healthy mindset that you will eventually, if not today, adopt to heal from the effects of abusive, toxic narcissism abuse, or any type of situation in your life where you've adopted the victim mentality. So, there's a couple of things that can describe the victim mentality. And one of those is that you take your problems and you dramatize them. I'm always the one that gets the bad deal, right? I'm always the one that gets the bad end of the stick. I'm always the one that has these things happen to me. My life is just always just messed up. There isn't anything good that happens in my life. So you drag your feet, you don't move forward, you don't take care of yourself. There's a lot of things you don't do because everything's a big catastrophe. So I'm going to ask you a question today. What is the worst thing that could happen to you right now? And what's the likelihood of that happening? What is the worst thing that could happen? More than likely, what is happening right now and the worst thing that can happen isn't there. So stop making your life a catastrophe. Look at the good in your life and be thankful and grateful for that. And forget about the victim mentality. Drop these characteristics. A victim mentality also means that the person feels like there's nothing that they can do, that they're powerless. And this is quite the opposite in most circumstances. I could ask you, what small thing can you do today to make this better? And in most situations, you can do one small thing, and you may need to take 100 steps to make it better, but you have the power to do that one small thing. When you find yourself in these situations where you feel like the victim, focus on the things that you can change. There are always things you can change, and you can change yourself. You often can't change other people, and that's not really our role in life, to change other people. What we change and what we work on is ourselves. Find something that you can control and something you feel like gives you some power back, and do that for you. Take this step to gain control, even if that means you're just controlling your mind, and have enough will to do this for yourself. A person with a victim mentality tends to really speak badly of themselves. They have a lot of negative self-talk, and we already hit on this to an extent. So, there's so many things in life that we have no control over. We have to learn what we have control over and what we don't, and center ourselves into what we do have control over. You have control over your mind. You have control over your emotions. You have control over your thoughts. And you are who you are based on your beliefs and based on your core values. And you need to drop those negative thoughts, because they can permeate. They can lead you to believe that you are your thoughts, but you aren't, and you do have control. Sometimes all of this will come to a head, and it will make you realize that you're blessed with a choice. You're blessed with a choice. Are you a victim? Are you not? Are you going to be happy, or are you not? Are you going to take control of your own self, or are you not? And isn't it wonderful that we're able to do that? That we're able to control our own mind, our own sense of well-being. We have that innate ability, and nobody can take that from us. So how do I put the brakes on this victim mentality? How do I stop? Again, you identify, and you're in the mindset of not limiting yourself to how you feel or how you have felt when you felt like you were a victim of this person or this being. Don't limit yourself to those thoughts. Remember that you can change. You can't change them, but you can change. You don't have to remain the victim. And I'm not talking about you don't have to remain the victim of abuse. I'm talking about you can take care of yourself mentally, and you can take care of yourself to where you're not living in a negative world mentally. You project yourself as a strong person, and you are a strong person. You conquer the negativity. This person does not make you a victim of your own self. You're a thriver of your own life, and you're a thriver in your own self. We have to take responsibility for our lives. And in this, we conquer our victim mentality. The moment we stop blaming other people and everything in the world for our own feelings and our own emotions, we're beating this. We're winning the ball game. When we develop the mindset that we can do this and we're not a victim to everything in life, suddenly things start looking a whole lot better to us. And this is even in a chemical process in our brain. Sometimes when things happen in our life, it brings stress chemicals into our brain. And unless we think positively, some of that remains. And once we have the mindset that we're strong and we're a conqueror, it swishes some of those chemicals, if not all of them, out. One replaces the other, and this is a physical change in the brain. But you have to do it. You have to do some work. The brain doesn't do it all by itself. Now, another thing that we need to do to get away from the victim mentality is to realize what we're grateful for. What are you thankful for? So another step is when we develop a thankful mind. What are you grateful for today? There's always things we can be grateful for. And gratefulness and thankfulness looks nothing like, oh my gosh, I'm a victim of the world. Oh my gosh, I can't do anything right. Oh my gosh, everything's always falling apart. Oh my gosh, I'm the only person challenged like this, period. But once you identify what you're thankful for and what you're grateful for, those thoughts are going to go away. And it's up to you. Your thoughts will create your reality. Now, I always say that you are your beliefs and you are your core values. You aren't what you think. But what you think can make you who you are, and you can choose to be the victim in this world, or you can choose victory in this world. Again, the positive things will drift back into your life once you decide that you're thankful, you're grateful, and I'm going to think positive. And then once you decide that you are no longer the victim, then you can take these steps. Think more positive. And you will then realize what you're capable of doing without blaming your lack of whatever on the world. You can take control of yourself mentally, and you can make the world a different place. And I hope you do. This is a wonderful quote from Maya Angelou. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some humor, and some style. Isn't that just beautiful?